What if the same person who shattered your heart is the only one who can put the pieces back together? Sounds impossible, right? But sometimes life doesn't follow simple rules. Sometimes the one who caused your deepest pain ends up being the only one who truly understands it. In this video, we're diving deep into a truth most people never talk about: why the person who broke you might also be the one who can fix you. We'll explore the emotions behind it, the psychology that drives it, and the moments when it actually happens in real life. You'll discover when giving someone another chance makes sense, and when it's just another path to heartbreak. Stay with me till the end, because what you'll hear might change how you see pain, forgiveness, and healing forever. Welcome to Motivational Quotes, where we explore the hidden sides of the human heart. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss more stories that speak to your soul. Before we talk about how someone who broke you might also fix you, let's first understand what this idea really means. When we say someone broke you, we're not just talking about a fight or a small misunderstanding. We're talking about deep pain, the kind that changes you, the kind that makes you question your worth, your trust, and sometimes even love itself. It could be betrayal, a promise broken, a love lost, a friend who walked away when you needed them most. It could be words that cut too deep, or silence that felt like a storm. That's what broke you really means. When a piece of your heart stops believing in people the same way it used to. And then comes the strange part, the idea that the same person could also fix you. To fix doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. It means healing what was damaged. It means rebuilding trust, relearning how to feel safe with the same person who once made you feel shattered. Sometimes fixing means both people facing the pain together, one admitting what they did and the other daring to open up again. It's about reconstruction of love, of faith, of self. But here's where the real tension lies. How can the person who caused your pain also be the one capable of healing it? How can the same hands that broke you be gentle enough to mend what's left? That's the question that makes this idea both beautiful and dangerous. Before we talk about whether it's right or wrong to let someone back in, we have to understand why people believe this idea in the first place. It starts with the bond. When someone has been a big part of your life, they don't just know your habits or your favorite things. They know your soul. They've seen you at your weakest. They've heard your fears, and they've held the pieces of your story that no one else ever touched. That emotional connection runs deep, and sometimes, even after everything falls apart, a part of you still feels tied to them. Then comes familiarity. They understand your triggers, what makes you angry, what makes you cry, what words calm you down when the world feels heavy. That kind of understanding doesn't happen overnight, and when it's gone, it leaves an empty space that feels impossible to replace. There's also the hope for redemption. People change. At least, we want to believe they can. And sometimes, what we really crave isn't just another chance with them. It's closure, a chance to see that the person who hurt us is capable of doing better. That maybe their apology means something real this time. And deep down, there's a quiet desire for wholeness. When someone breaks us, it feels like they've taken a piece of us with them. So we start to believe that the only way to feel complete again is to get that piece back, to heal with the same person who once caused the wound. That's why so many hearts still turn toward the same place that hurt them. Not because they've forgotten the pain, but because they still remember the love. Before we talk about giving someone another chance, we need to face the part most people try to ignore, the risks. Because sometimes the person who hurt you once might hurt you again. We tell ourselves they've changed, that this time will be different. But the truth is, not everyone changes just because they say they will. Some people only miss the comfort of being forgiven, not the responsibility of becoming better. Then there's dependence, the quiet trap. When you've been broken, it's easy to believe that only one person can make you feel whole again. You start to rely on them emotionally, waiting for their attention, their apology, their love to make the pain go away. But that kind of healing isn't real. It's borrowed comfort. and it can disappear the moment they walk away again. And sometimes it's just false hope in disguise. You begin to rebuild, to trust, to open your heart again, only to find yourself back in the same storm. Same words, same wounds, same silence. The cycle repeats, and each time it does, the pieces of you become smaller, harder to put back together. Imagine someone who once left you shattered. Months later, they come back with soft words and promises. For a while, it feels like healing, like maybe this time love wins. But slowly, the cracks start to show again. The same arguments, the same distance, the same pain. And before you know it, you're standing in the same place you swore you'd never return to. That's the danger hidden inside this idea. The belief that love alone can fix what's broken, even when nothing else has changed. Before we talk about walking away for good, let's pause for a moment, because sometimes it can be true. Sometimes the person who broke you really can help heal you, but only under very rare and honest conditions. It starts with genuine growth. Not words, not apologies that fade after a week, but real visible change. They've faced what they did. They've learned from it. And you can see the difference in how they speak, how they act, and how they respect your pain now. Then come boundaries, clear ones. You're not starting where things ended. You're starting from new rules, new understanding. You know what hurt you before, and you won't allow it again. This time, healing happens only inside safe limits, not out of fear of losing them again. Communication becomes the foundation. Both of you talk openly about what went wrong, about the nights you cried, about the moments they failed to show up. You both face the truth. No more pretending it didn't happen. You speak to understand, not to blame. You listen to heal, not to win. And then there's mutual commitment. Not one person trying to fix everything alone, but both walking together, one small step at a time. It's not about forgetting the past. It's about making sure it doesn't repeat itself. But perhaps the most important thing is why you choose to try again. Not because you're lonely, not because you're scared of starting over, but because you've both grown into people who can love without breaking each other this time. Only then, and only with honesty, can the person who once broke you become part of your healing. Before we talk about letting go completely, let's talk about what happens if you decide to give them another chance. Because healing with the same person who once broke you is not impossible, but it requires patience, courage, and clarity. First, start slow. Don't rush back into what feels familiar. Take time to see if their actions match their words. Let trust rebuild itself naturally, not through promises, but through consistency. Next, be honest about the past. Don't bury the pain or pretend it never happened. Speak openly about what they did and how it changed you. Let them know the scars are still there, and that real healing begins only when the truth is respected. Then set clear boundaries. Know what you can accept and what you can't. Boundaries aren't walls, they're protection. They remind both of you that love cannot survive without respect. Ask yourself one important question. What has changed? If the answer is unclear, you may be stepping back into the same story with a different chapter title. Change is not about words, it's about behavior, attitude, patience, and effort. You must also look for consistent action. Anyone can say, "I've changed," but real growth shows up in how they handle conflict, how they listen, and how they care when things get hard again. Don't do it alone. Have support. Talk to friends, mentors, or even a therapist. Sometimes the heart wants what's familiar, even when the mind knows better. You need people who can remind you of your worth when emotions start to blur the truth. And finally, be ready to walk away if the process hurts more than it heals. Trying again should bring peace, not fear. It should make you feel lighter, not smaller. Because second chances are not about proving loyalty, they're about protecting your peace while hoping for love that's real. Before we talk about giving someone endless chances, we have to face the moment no one wants to admit. Sometimes you have to let them go. Because no matter how much you love them, if the pain keeps repeating, if the story keeps ending the same way, it's time to stop hoping and start healing. If there's repeated betrayal, if they've broken your trust more than once, you can't keep bleeding from the same wound and calling it love. Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to stay. Sometimes walking away is the forgiveness. for them and for yourself. If they refuse to change, no amount of love can rewrite their behavior. You can show them patience, understanding, empathy, but you can't make them grow. Change must come from within. And if it doesn't, you'll only keep shrinking while waiting for someone else's transformation. And if trying to fix things harms your peace, drains your energy, or makes you lose sight of who you are, that's not healing anymore. That's survival. And love isn't meant to feel like constant survival. That's when you turn the focus inward, toward healing from within. You start building yourself again, piece by piece. You rediscover your worth outside of their approval. You learn to sit with your pain until it turns into power. Healing without them isn't weakness. It's strength in its purest form. It's choosing to grow even when someone else couldn't grow with you. It's learning that closure doesn't always come from their apology. Sometimes it comes from your own acceptance. Because the truth is, you don't always need the one who broke you to fix you. Sometimes you become the one who saves yourself. Before we talk about what's right or wrong, let's be honest. Healing isn't a simple choice. It's not black or white. It's not always about staying or leaving. Sometimes it's about finding balance between the two. It's okay to hope, even after being hurt. Hope doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. It means your heart still believes in goodness, even after pain tried to convince you otherwise. But it's just as important to protect yourself while you hope. You can care for someone deeply without giving them the power to break you again. You can also forgive, but still keep your distance. Forgiveness doesn't always mean reunion. Sometimes it simply means releasing the anger so it doesn't poison your peace. You can let go of resentment and still choose never to reopen the same door. And remember, healing doesn't come from one person. It can come from time, from self-reflection, from the people who love you right now, and from the quiet strength you build when no one's watching. Healing is a path with many hands, and sometimes the one who once held you tight isn't the one meant to help you stand again. Because life isn't about choosing between love and pain. It's about learning how to carry both and still move forward with wisdom. Before we end, let's come back to the heart of it all. Sometimes the person who broke you can help you heal, but not always. And that's okay. Not every story needs to circle back to where it began. Some stories are meant to end, so that you can begin again. What truly matters is trusting yourself. Your heart deserves care, not confusion. It deserves consistency, not empty promises. If someone's love brings more pain than peace, it's not love that's missing. It's your own protection calling out to be heard. Take a moment and ask yourself, are you holding space for healing with them? Or are you ready to find that healing within yourself? There's no shame in either path, only courage in choosing what brings you peace. Because healing is never out of reach. It doesn't depend on who hurt you, but on how you choose to rise after the fall. So take a deep breath, release what's heavy, and remember, healing is possible. You deserve peace. If this message spoke to your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel, Motivational Quotes. We share stories that remind you, no matter how broken you feel, you still have the power to heal.